We're going to call our CDBG Citizens Advisory Committee meeting to order, and I'd like to make a roll call, and what we'll do is start down at this end. If you would give your name, please.
Yeah, my name is Jim Howell. It's an honor to be here with the group.
Janie Evans.
Deborah Miller.
Ginger Cutting.
Put your finger under, there you go.
Ginger Cutting.
John Paris, I'm the other newbie.
Debbie Savoini.
All right, all present and accounted for. So we're going to go into new member introductions and orientations. And Mike, you're going to take that over.
Yes. Before that, the minutes, approval of the minutes for the March 20th. March 20th. Yes. Go ahead with the minutes, please.
So we're going to skip down to B. We're going to skip to B first.
Oh, that's I'm sorry about that. Can we go ahead and skip to, with your permission, skip to B to do that first?
Okay. All right. I need a motion to approve the minutes of the March 20th, 2024 CDBG meeting. Everybody read your minutes, and I know we have some new people. If you have, that's great. And if you haven't, that's all right too. We'll take a motion from those who attended on that March 20th meeting. I need a motion to accept.
Madam Chair, I accept the meeting minutes from March 20th.
Janie made the motion. I need a second.
I will second.
And all those, any questions? Those in favor, the four that were there at that meeting, I need to have you raise your hand. Yes, we approve. It's done. So there's your meeting, Mike.
All right. Thank you very much. Passes 4-0. Okay. Now we can go backwards to item A. And it's welcoming the new members to our CAC board. The new members, Ginger Cutting, Jim Howe, and John Paris. Welcome to the CAC meeting. Today is going to be, I'll go back to the agenda, a bit of an orientation on what this program is. Okay, not going to get too much into the weeds, but I'm going to, any questions that you might have as I go through my spiel, just stop me mid-sentence. It's okay with me, and just ask. The more questions, the better. And if I, for whatever reason, don't know the answer to your questions, I'll write it down. I'll find it out for you. So a little bit about me. I've been in this position for over a year now. So it is my primary job with the city is this committee as a CDBG coordinator. It's been a lot, to tell you the truth, from someone that's coming in with some administrative experience, but not that much government experience. And it's been a lot in the sense that it's a HUD program, it's a federal program, so there's a lot of like little ins and outs that I'm still learning. So, but overall, any questions, anything that's confusing, just let me know. So, I was going to, if it was all right with the chair, a brief introduction from the new members, introducing yourself to the committee, if that's okay. And if the old members want to share, that would be great as well. So.
I would like presiding members to share. So we're going to start down here with you, Jim. Finger on that middle button. Anytime you do want to speak, you have to press that button down, and we'll start with you.
Okay, I guess the button was lesson number 1, but again, my name is Jim Howell. It's an honor to be here with all of you on this team. I'm a short timer in Arizona, about 3 years, but I call myself an American by way of San Diego. And my wife and I moved here and love it. I have decades of experience with CDBG funds. I'm a retired public works director, and I've built miles of sidewalks with CDBG funds and in, I'll say, stressed neighborhoods. And then on the other side of my private life, I've lobbied for CDBG funds for Girls Club, Kids Club, Boy Scouts, and a couple of other groups. So it's really nice to be here and part of the group. And I like to be part of the community. I'm a volunteer with the County of Yavapai Health Department, and soon I'll be driving for Meals with Wheels. Anyway, I was just talking with them. So anyway, thank you.
Welcome aboard, Janie.
Hi, my name is Janie Evans. I've been in Prescott for almost 10 years now. I moved here from Seattle, retired from Boeing. Didn't know what CBGG was until I decided that I needed to volunteer and help the community as well. So that's what I've been doing. And I've been on this board for almost a year and a half now.
Yeah, that's correct.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm Deborah Miller, and I'm a retired 30-year state employee with ADOT. I came up here 8 years ago now, Marianne, I think it was, from community relations in ADOT, was community relations up here till I retired. Currently, thanks to George and Michael, I am currently the program specialist for the NACOG's CBDG program. So I do Michael's job,
Yep.
but for NACOG, for the Northern Arizona.
My name is Marianne Settles. I have probably served on the CDBG longest as anyone besides George Worley. I think George started before I came on. I'm an ex-Prescott councilman, served for 12 years, and so this was a great committee to sit on. I have been chair for probably the last 4 to 5 years. Time goes so fast, I sometimes forget. The second chair is Deb Miller for this year. And CBDG does a lot of things that will surprise you in this community. And I'm very, very pleased we had all of you apply. And you're going to fit in just perfectly. Thank you.
My name's Ginger Cutting. I have been a member living in the Prescott area for 25 years. I come from the Phoenix area, and my husband is a driver for Meals on Wheels. I was a board member for Meals on Wheels. I love Meals on Wheels. I think it's a wonderful organization. I think it's great what it does for our community. I am a real estate broker here in town. I've been in the industry for 3.5 years in the real estate industry as a real estate broker. However, I was in the title and escrow end of it for the prior 25 years. So not 25, total of 42. So whatever, but a long time, and when I was a kid. But I actually am very excited. I just served for the Christmas courthouse lighting. I was on that committee and enjoyed that very much. And then I was on the Acker Foundation committee and enjoyed that very much. So when that moved and merged, then I wanted to be a part of this one. So I look forward to working with you all.
Thank you.
My name is John Paris. I've been in the Prescott area since 1985, retired from education, and actually it is a privilege that I worked in all 3 districts. I won't tell you which is the best one unless you ask me in private, okay? And I've been retired since '05, and I figured it was time to get up, get out, and do something, and my wife definitely encouraged me to do it.
Thank you, John.
My name is Debbie Savoini, and I've been on this committee, I think, about 3 years. I retired in
I don't remember, 5 years ago. And I'm a nurse. I've always worked in healthcare. I work for the county. I have some very reading about CBDG. There are some things that CBDG can help with the healthcare of our community. My special thing is transportation. You know, it's just a problem here. And I saw that CBDG does provide a means for people to be transported to healthcare. So that's one of the reasons why. But I probably am the only one that does not live in the city of Prescott, but I do have commercial property here.
All right, thanks, Deb. So we've done our introduction. Everybody will get easier and easier as we meet. So, Mike, if we turn this over to you, you need to acknowledge Councilman Brendan Montoya, who is the liaison for our group. Councilman, thank you.
Awesome. Hello.
Hi, I'm sorry I'm late. I'm Brandon Montoya. I'm the liaison for CDBG. This is the only committee I serve on, so you guys get all of my attention and focus. So one thing I wanted to throw out to you guys, the city clerk started asking members of council who are on various committees and boards as liaisons to provide monthly reports. Okay. And so if there is information that you specifically think coming out of this meeting is valuable for all of council to know about, please let me know so I can include it in a report. So all right. Happy to be here. Happy you're all here. Thanks for serving.
Thank you. Okay.
All right, so the next, any other discussion from us? Maybe, Mike, you want to pick that up or fill in some of the newer members with what's expected, what the rest of the year is going to be? I'm sort of going to turn that over to you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So what I put together is a short orientation for all the new members, and I think it'll be helpful for the members that have been a part of this board for a while. And again, any questions, just stop me. I like questions and do my best to answer. So quick facts about CDBG. Well, what does it stand for? There's going to be a lot of acronyms. I printed out a little acronym cheat sheet for you guys. CDBG is Community Development Block Grant. This is a federal program. Specifically, it's a grant that comes from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD. And I did the math going back to 2018 to get an idea of how much we get a year, and it's a little bit over $250,000 from HUD that goes into our community. We've had this program since 2004. We're officially in our 20th year of CDBG. And it is city only. We don't go to the state. Some communities do go to the state for their CDBG funding. Not the case with us. We get our funding directly from HUD. What else can I say about that? Any quick question? Yes, ma'am.
So is this just for Prescott, and then Prescott Valley and Chino Valley, and the county has something else?
Good question. This is CDBG just for Prescott specifically. So, and when we vote on, or when the committee votes on projects and activities, one of the key points is those projects and activities have to be in Prescott for Prescott citizens. Prescott Valley, they've done some CDBG stuff, but it's through the state. So they don't have their own CDBG fund. They have to go through the state to apply. So, yeah. And I'm not as sure about Chino, where they're at. A lot of them work with NACOG, and NACOG is kind of our region. And they do, of course, like some CDBG stuff too. So, good. Any other questions regarding this slide? All right. This is the annual allocation of CDBG funds for Prescott, going back to the inception of the program, and I think 2005 fiscal year was the first year. So I'll give you a minute to look at that. A couple questions that I get regarding this slide is why the drop? Okay, so when we first started the program, it was, a bit north of 300,000 a year. And then starting in 2012, 2013, significantly less. It stabilized around that 250,000 mark. So the reason for the drop is two parts. One is, each year, funding for this program through HUD has to go through the appropriations through Congress to fund. Okay, so each year it goes through that process, and some years there is some, I guess, extra. There's some politicking going around to lessen the CDBG fund totally. So I think in early 2000s, you had about $4 billion that was allocated by Congress. It's now, I think it got down to about $3 billion when you see the biggest dip, and right now it's been steady around 3.4 billion a year. So that's one reason the overall funding from HUD is lessened. The other reason is there's more communities that are applying for this fund. So I think at the beginning of 2000, you had 1,000 communities all vying for the same amount, and now we're about 1,250, 1,300 communities vying for this amount. So that's kind of the reason why we're at where we're at. Yes, ma'am.
Isn't there also another reason to qualify for this money? Not just every community can apply for it?
Right. So there's, in order to get it as a community, you have to meet a certain threshold. So, and usually that threshold to apply for it is a population of 50,000. We're not at 50,000. We weren't at 50,000 in 2004 or 2005. I don't know why they said we get the money. So I don't understand exactly their thinking, because it's pretty specific what that threshold is. So you have to be a community over 50,000. Another question I get just real quick is, how do they formulate this amount? Well, they do it based on population. They do it on base. I think a big chunk of it is percentage of folks in under poverty, in the poverty level, and then there's a third criteria in there, but it's not. Oh, housing stock. They look at your housing stock, and all this is based on census data. So that's kind of the breakdown of the formula. Yes, ma'am.
What is our poverty percentage?
I don't know that offhand, but I can get that information where we're at. So I can tell you, I did recently. I have to watch the income levels, for low and moderate income per HUD for our region, and right now and I'll send this out to the committee. Our average median income right now, we're talking a family of four, is now at 86,000 for our region. That includes Prescott Valley. Low income at this point, someone who's making $22.36 in our community is considered low income. So it's over the last 3 years, those numbers have been ticking up quite dramatically. And I'll get out that summary income limit sheet. It comes straight from HUD. I'll send it to everybody. So, any other questions on this slide? Okay. Okay, the role of CAC, which is you guys, is the Citizen Advisory Committee. What is the committee responsible for? Well, one is gathering community input through a needs workshop. I'll go through a timeline here towards the end of the slides. That needs workshop usually happens in November-ish. The needs workshop is an opportunity for the community to come to the CAC. Usually it's community-based and some CAC members attend and talk about their needs. So this last year, we had about 20 participants from the community, different non-for-profits, just kind of telling us what was going on in the community. One of the big issues was transportation. That was a need that definitely came up. A lot of issues around our elderly population that's on fixed income and what that looks like, especially as they're aging, what kind of supports they need. And also we had folks that were running transitional shelters, emergency shelters, Meals for Wheels was there, and whatnot. So it's the opportunity again for the CAC to hear what's going on in the community. The CAC is also responsible for reviewing and evaluating all CDBG funding proposals. The busy time for this committee, I would say, is January through March. That's when the applications are coming in. That is when we're having our meetings or presentations from non-for-profits or entities out in the public, asking or requesting CDBG money. And that's when the committee votes on, who to fund with CDBG money. So right now there's going to still be stuff to do, but it slows down. I would say, midsummer, then it starts picking up in November with the needs workshop. And as I previously mentioned, with the funding, with the different applicants, it is the committee's responsibility to recommend who gets funding. That gets sent up to the city council. They make the final decision. It's just a recommendation from this board. And usually when they do that is May timeframe. It's going to be later this year. I'm thinking it'll probably be June, and I'll talk about why that is here in a moment. Also, and this is important because this is going to be coming up here pretty soon, is the CAC provides input and recommendations to the city council regarding the 5-year consolidated plan. So we're coming up on our 5-year consolidated plan. This will be the first time I'm involved in it. But I know that there's committee members that have gone through this experience before. This is kind of just setting what this committee, what this program is going to look like for the next 5 years. Of course, there's going to be public input, public hearings, and it is ultimately approved by the city council. So, and it's going to be a pretty in-depth. So it's a good time to start on this board, I think. So, but any questions about that? Any input on that, especially the 5-year consolidated plan? If not, that's okay. Yes, ma'am.
What you voted on last month,
Yes.
was that the results from the previous, starting last November and then moving forward?
Right. So, and I'll go over the timeline. That is for this program year 2024. So this is this grant cycle, and which kicks off. The program year 2024 is what they voted for. It starts July 1st for us, but we vote on everything, or the committee votes on everything, recommends everything to council prior to that. So, and in the form of the annual action plan, which I'll talk about in just another acronym. So, but yes, that's what it was. Okay. Next. My role as your CDBG coordinator, again, this is my primary job with the City of Prescott. I am your primary staff liaison. So what I'll be doing, if you ever have questions, you can email me, you can call me anytime. I'm the one that will send you information about this program. If anything changes, and oftentimes stuff does change coming down from HUD. So that's my responsibility to keep y'all keyed in on what's going on with this program. I administer the whole program, ensuring compliance with HUD, which, as I mentioned earlier, it's been a big order at times. It's a pretty expansive program. I also prepare, a big part of my job is the annual action plan, the AAP, and some other documents. The annual action plan is my next thing that I'm going to do. Basically, the recommendations which this council makes, I put in this report called the annual action plan. That's what's submitted, and you'll be able to review it hopefully at the next CAC meeting. But that is what is presented to the city council. That is what they vote on. Okay, so within the annual action plan, it talks about all the projects and activities that are being recommended, what funding levels they'll be at, and also how the annual action plan ties in to our existing 5-year consolidated plan, if that makes sense. Okay. Some other ones that I'll have up there, that I'm responsible for is, yes, sir.
Question for you, Michael. Is your position or other full-time employees funded by CDBG funds?
Right. Good question. My salary is paid for by this grant. So it doesn't cover the whole thing, but it covers the majority of my salary. And I'll get into that. I have another slide talking about the breakdown of the money and where it can go. So the other thing that you see up there that I want to highlight is CAPER. I have the acronym on your sheet. I can't remember what it is, but it's on your sheet. Something consolidated annual participation, performance. And anyway, all that is, it's my end of year report to City Council. I'll make it to City Council and it shows, hey, this is what we've done. These are the projects that got funded. These are their accomplishments. And this is how it ties in again to that 5-year plan that exists. So that's our chance, really, this committee and this program to highlight, this program is doing a lot of good for the city. So, okay. I also provide another big part of the job is guidance, technical assistance, monitoring for all our CDBG subrecipients on eligibility reporting, program implementation. Right now, I'm in the monitoring process of our subrecipients from last year. So I'm doing that. I do on-site visits. I go through their books for the most part. I have to see their processes. I have to make sure, their system of, verifying low to moderate income individuals. All that is a big part of, accountability of our subrecipients and just an overall, way to touch base and make sure, hey, we're all doing this together and very much involved. So, okay. Any other questions on my role? Okay, cruising on. All right. So there's so much with this program, and I'm not going to do it all today, but I did want to highlight some of the bigger stuff. The CDBG program, and this is coming from HUD, has to follow the national objectives set by HUD. And there's 3 national objectives that we always, when we're looking to fund a program, a project, an activity, we always have to start with these national objectives. And which national objective does it fit into? So the primary one is benefit to low and moderate income persons, okay? We can also use this program to aid in the prevention and elimination of slums or blight. And we can also use this money to meet a need of having a particular urgency. This is referred to as urgent need, So God forbid, there's a disaster or something like that, we can use this money to help assist. Okay, it's not a lot of money, but we can use it to help. Okay, I have an asterisk by that first one. The LMI national objective is also referred to as the primary national objective because the statute requires recipients to expend 70% of their CDBG funds to benefit LMI persons. Okay. All right. Any questions about the national objectives? And you'll be hearing this stuff over and over again. I'm going to provide everyone with more information via email regarding the program as we go through this process. Okay. All right, little small to see, but this is, out of that $250,000 a year, how's it broken down? Well, 20% is used towards administration. That's my salary in there. That's how this program pays for me, is out of that. We can use 15% and only up to 15% towards public service, okay? And then the majority is towards construction projects, which is the remainder amount of 65%, okay? That being said, do you have to use all 15% for public service? You could say there's programs around the country that said, you know what, it's not, especially if you don't have that much money, we're going to use this all for infrastructure projects, or we know a big infrastructure project is coming down the pipe from maybe Public Works or the city. This year we're going to just focus on putting as much CDBG money towards that. That being said, public service part of this program, as I think the existing committee members can attest, is hugely popular. That's where we get our most applicants. I think we got 8 this year. Each one asking in between $15,000 to $20,000 to fund their activities, and when we only have, what is that, 35,000? Not even 40,000 for play. It's just not that much. So it's very competitive. The committee this year funded the top 3 ranking public service activities. So just something to consider. We can go higher than that 65% on the construction side if we need to. We cannot go higher than the 15% cap for public service. Or administration, that's a cap too. Any questions about that? Yes, ma'am.
Who sets those limits?
This comes from HUD. This is directly from HUD. The CDBG program sets the limits. And there has, almost every year, it's like, can we do more for public service? Because there's such a demand, but it's not that much. And unfortunately, it's the same. It's not gonna change. HUD wants infrastructure construction. That's why they set these. That's how I understand, why they set these limits the way they did. So, yes, ma'am.
So one of the things on this committee that I was taken with the construction are some of the restrictions. Can you make sure we get those restrictions sent out, like no new construction?
That's right.
That's
right. So I didn't. For this meeting, I didn't do too much on what we can do with the money. There's a lot of different things. So they say we can do construction projects, we can do infrastructure projects. Whether that's a city-led project, which we did 2 years ago. We did the trail. We put pavers, I think 1,500 feet of pavers for the Community Nature Center trail, which is by Abaya Judd. It's right across the parking lot from Abaya Judd. That was through Parks and Rec. But we can't do new construction. We can't take this money, and again, it's not that much money, and say we're going to build a new multi-family complex for affordable housing. We can't do something like that. However, what we could do is we could aid and I'm sure Jim was probably familiar with this, is aid in some of the infrastructure that would go to pipe in, provide utilities for something like that, depending on what the project is, a big multifamily. This is just an example. Let's say it's 100 unit multifamily. They would require, if you were to use CDBG to say provide the infrastructure for utilities, 51%, a little bit of half, so 51 units would have to meet that LMI category. So it wouldn't be the whole facility at 100% LMI. It would be 51%. So just that's one example, but there's a lot of different things. Any other questions regarding that? Okay. Here are our past subrecipients, and there's a bunch on here. Again, going back, these are all organizations. A lot of them have a presence in the Tri-City or the area. PV, Chino. But when they apply for a grant with us, their project, their activity has to be Prescott specific. Okay, so, and again, a lot of the projects that we've had is, going back all the way to the beginning. I don't know if there's any committee members that want to share, about some of these projects, but it has been a lot. Yeah. Any questions? Anybody see any up there that they have questions what that project was? I'll do my best to. Prescott Area Shelter Service right there, pass. I think it was a roof and then painting. Yeah, so we've done that. Agape House, bottom right corner. Now they just spread out to Prescott Valley, or they're breaking ground in Prescott Valley, but their transitional shelter for families. Here, I think we've used over about $150,000 over a 3-year period on rehabbing their structure, which has been really good. Yes, ma'am.
Michael, tell us a little bit about the Prescott Chamber Foundation.
Okay, thank you. So one of a popular program for CDBG is a minor home repair program. A lot of communities have a minor home repair program, and we have one as well that we plan to fully fund for the first time this year. It was always kind of an afterthought. We would fund this program with leftover funds. And it is administered through the Prescott Chamber of Commerce Foundation. The foundation is a non-for-profit arm of the chamber, and Miss Sherry Heine is in charge of that program with the city's help. So it's been a very successful, very popular program. It is something that I personally have a lot of pride in, and being able to share it with the council is always a highlight, because it's folks that fall under that LMI category that live in Prescott, and this is the demographic. It's usually elderly. It's usually women, widowed, fixed income. They're one disaster away from not being able to pay the mortgage or whatever. So some highlights of the program from past years, we've only been doing this for 2 years, is, we had a lady that lived in our community here in Prescott, and she didn't have hot water for 4 years. 4 years. So with this program, we were able to, fix that. She has hot water now, We had another lady here who had lived in the area since the 1950s, and taking care of a son who was 60 years old with disabilities and needed some ADA stuff, some disability access, rail guards, a ramp, and stuff like that. We were able to use this program to do that. You know, so these are the real, incredible stories that we're able to do with this money. And minor home repair and what Prescott Chamber of Commerce Foundation, Sherry Heine, has been able to do. She really works her butt off promoting this program and getting the money out in the communities. It's been a great thing.
And to start that program came from pandemic money?
Right. Well, there is another fund, and I might not talk about. I'm going to bring it up just a little bit because it gets confusing, And during COVID, we got $450,000 separate from our usual allocation of $250,000. So this $450,000 was specific to COVID and handling the pandemic. We also, during that time, utilized the Prescott Chamber of Commerce Foundation to set up a program where we could aid individuals that weren't able to pay their mortgages, utilities, rent, and also small businesses that, especially the ones that had to shut down temporarily, to keep their doors open. It wasn't that much money that we allocated to each. I think it was like only maybe $5,000. But I believe we were able to pump about 200,000 of that 450 into the community during that period. Then everything slowed down, as demand goes. Okay, and we still have this $250,000. All right. Over this past year, we've had to reassess and kind of change around what we can do with that money. The foundation is going to continue to administer that program, and we have projects. We're going to work with U.S. vets, utilize some of that money, which we got the okay from HUD on homeless outreach for U.S. vets through their day center, and just some. That's going to be on the docket, just so everybody knows. It's going to be something we're going to continue to talk about. The government hasn't made it that easy to spend. I mean, it was so. Anyway, that's kind of it. But going back to your question, Madam Chair, that was kind of the genesis of this project and working with the chamber on the minor home repair program. Okay, I'm almost done. This is my last slide. Thanks for hanging in there. Timeline of our program. Well, this meeting was supposed to be, the opening of our public comment period with our annual action plan. So I was going to bring the annual action plan all complete and say, in 30 days, I'll be presenting it to council to get approved. Unfortunately, that's not the case. The reason for that is we don't have our specific allocation from HUD yet. So usually during this time, we have an estimate of how much money we're going to get, and we get to base our funding of programs with that estimate. Okay. The delay is because they just approved the budget. Congress just approved the budget. I think it was maybe a month ago. So everything's been delayed. Okay, so I'm hoping by the next time we meet, which is May 15th, that I'll have that estimate from HUD, and I'll be able to move forward with the annual action plan and going to city council for approval. So that's the reason why for the delay. So this is our new timeline. May, June. So I'm hoping June is when I go with the annual action plan, which has the committee's recommendations to council for approval. They approve it, and then I submit it to HUD almost the next day. And then June ends, and on July 1st is the first day of our program year, our CDBG program year. We'll hopefully get by August our annual action plan back from HUD. It needs to get signed off by the mayor, And once that happens, let's say August, maybe September timeframe, I send out all the applicants that received awards a reward letter, a notice of funding, and they can really start their projects at that point. Also in the summer, I'll be working on my end of program report called the CAPER. I'll be presenting that to the committee as well before I go up to council to present it. Okay. It's September, October when we actually receive the money from HUD. So it's a process. Even though the program year starts on July 1st, we don't actually get the money for the program until October timeframe. It could be later this year because of the delays. And then we're able to start reimbursing some of the projects. Okay. So projects can actually start July 1st. And they're not going to get paid. They're not going to get reimbursed, but we can reimburse back to July 1st. So November is the needs workshop. And then December, we started all over again with new applications. They have about 45 days to submit their applications. And then January, March, we start our grant cycle. We see presentations and we vote on projects and activities, and that's it. That's what it kind of looks like. So any questions on the timeline? Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mike, just a question on back on the last slide with the Chamber's program. Do they vet the requests for home improvement and then inspect at the conclusion to make sure that the CDBG funds are truly spent?
Good question. So there's a couple parts to it. There's the front end process, which is making sure that they're LMI. So there's an application process. They have to show documentation that they fall within that category. We'll go out, we'll do an initial site visit. When we do the site visit, it's with the chamber. I'm there as well as usually it's been the chief building official. Ryan Green for the city of Prescott attends too, and we go look at the actual issues with the house and see if they qualify. See if this is something that is in our realm. We only have we have a limit of $5,000 per project. And then that's it. So if we go in a house and there's tons of, we don't have that. So it's 5,000. It's very much on the front end. They know what the limit is. Okay.
Madam Chair.
Yep.
Michael, we increased that this year to 8,000. Remember?
For
24.
For the Prescott Cares project, but for minor home repair, it's still at 5,000. Still at 5,000. It's something we can look at in the future. We're funding it $60,000 this year. So, okay. The other part of it. The chamber works with, has relationships or works with the contractors. They do the middleman work with organizing, coordinating with contractors to go out and do the work. Once the work is complete, we do a closeout inspection where we go out again, the chamber, myself, and the CBO again inspects the work with the contractor there to make sure everything is good to go, and we have a happy customer. For lack of a better word, that everything is on the up and up, and that's the process. Any other questions? How am I doing on time? What? Okay. Yeah.
You're just fine.
All right. So, okay. That is it. That is my short CDBG. There's going to be, it's a learning process, but we learn it together. And it is a lot, but at the same time, one of the goals for this program, for CDBG, how I understand it, got created in 1974. And before that, there was a bunch of different federal agencies that tried to fit one piece of this puzzle. I think everything changed in the mid '70s. Say we're going to all bring it under this one umbrella. They did that, and they did another thing. They put a lot of the power. They gave it to the jurisdictions. Not everything, but for the biggest part, instead of a top-down kind of management process where HUD's telling you exactly what to do and exactly what to build, they left it up to the most part for the people that would really know, which is the local jurisdictions. Okay, still strings attached because it is a HUD program, but it was a big change from what it was from my understanding. So there is flexibility here. There is opportunities to get creative with this project, maybe do some things we haven't done before, and do some good. So that's my spiel. Again, any questions about that? Okay.
So with that, our next meeting is May the 15th.
Yes, that is, let me see, for staff announcements, that was basically it, was May 15th is our next meeting.
All right, and any questions? And with none being asked, we're going to adjourn this meeting, folks, at 2:22.
2:22, got it.